Once a very sad person came to a saint and said, "I am very sad with my life. I cannot keep my wife, children, and my family happy. I am not able to do anything for myself. Sometimes I even think of ending my life. You do so many sadhanas, so much tapasaya. Can you tell me a way through which I can come out of my bad times? I am going through a very bad time. It has become very difficult for me to even arrange for 2 meals a day. Now you tell me, how can I stay alive in such times? How can I keep my family happy? Please tell me a simple way so that I can understand easily, because I am not very educated. If you talk about great knowledge, then perhaps I will never be able to understand." Hearing this, the Mahatma smiled and said, "You can do one thing." Then the Mahatma pointed ahead and said, "There is a temple on that high hill, and near that temple there is an ant house where thousands of ants live. You might find it strange to hear, but those ants spoil the soil of that temple, destroy the fertility of that soil, due to which no tree or grass can grow there. You do one thing for me. After that, I will answer your questions. You go to that hill every day for 7 days and destroy that ant house. Break it. Whenever you see an ant house near the temple, destroy it right there. But remember, no ant should die while breaking the house." Trying to understand this, the young man left from there. Perhaps he did not understand why the Mahatma was doing this. He was doing injustice to those ants, breaking their house, harming them. After all, which Mahatma would do this? But still, obeying the Mahatma, he started going to the hill from the next day itself. When he reached the hill on the first day, he saw that many ants were busy gathering their food. All the ants were walking in a line and picking up small grains and depositing them in their house. Seeing this, the young man's heart weakened at first. He thought that they are filling their house with so much hard work, and if I destroy their house, then how bad they will feel. But then, remembering the words of the Mahatma, he started breaking that house. Soon there was chaos among the ants. They started running here and there. Those who were walking in a line till now got scattered and started running here and there to save their lives. In a short while, the house was destroyed, and all the ants ran away to hide here and there. After doing this, the young man returned to his house with a sad heart. His mind was troubled, sad, and full of remorse. Then, while lying on his bed at night, he thought that now the house of those ants has been destroyed. Now, what is the use of going back there? Because Mahatma Ji had told me to destroy the house of the ants, which I have already done. But then, after thinking a bit, he decided to go again the next day, and the next day he got up early in the morning and reached the same hill again. After reaching the hill, he reaches the same place where he had destroyed that house the previous morning. But he is shocked to see that those ants had again made their house at the same place, and now they were again busy collecting things for their house. Looking at that man, he felt that how foolish these ants are. They know that only yesterday their house was destroyed at this very place, and they have also made their new house at the same place. And thinking this, that man started laughing. But again, remembering the words of the Mahatma, he started destroying the house of those ants again. Again, there was a commotion among those ants, and in a short while, those ants started running here and there to save their lives. In a short while, their house was destroyed again, and that young man started thinking with a sense of satisfaction that this time I have destroyed that house well. Now those ants will not be able to make their house here. That is why before leaving he poured cold water on that house so that the ants could not build their home there. And thus, after completing his work, the young man returned to his home again. Tonight while sleeping, the young man was again thinking whether the Mahatma was making him do the right thing. Does destroying someone's house suit a Siddha Purush? What if that Mahatma is not a Siddha Purush at all? What if he is fooling me? But then he decided that I will complete my work first. Only then will I know why the Mahatma was making me do this. And thinking this, he slept at night. The next day, he wakes up in the morning and again goes towards the same hill. After reaching the hill, he reaches the same place where he had destroyed their house, and he becomes happy to see that there was no house there. All the ants had run away from there. Now he thought, what will be the use of me coming every day because the ants have changed their house? I was told to come after 7 days, but today is only the 3rd day. Now what will be the use of coming back for the remaining 4 days? And thinking this, he decided that from here, he will go straight to the same Mahatma and tell him all this news. When he turned back and started going from that hill towards the hut of that Mahatma, then suddenly his eyes fell on another house which was made by the ants only, meaning that the house was made by the ants only, And now those ants have started living in the new house. This new house was at a little distance from their old house, and when the same young man saw that house, he thought that perhaps the Mahatma knew that these ants will shift their house from here and build it at some other place. That is why he had told me to come after 7 days and thinking this. He reached there to break their new house as well. When he reached there, the ants were busy in their work in the same way. They were collecting food for themselves and storing it in their house. When the old house was broken, there were grains left there too, and the ants were collecting grains from there too and bringing them back to their new house. Now here again, the mind of the young man became a little weak because he himself was weak. He himself was also a victim of time. That is why a feeling of pity was overflowing in his mind for those ants. He was feeling pity for them. He wanted to help them, but he was harming them on the contrary. But remembering the words of that Mahatma, he decided to destroy that house again, and this time he started destroying that house very carefully without harming any ant. It took a little more time because the Mahatma had already laid down the condition of not harming any ant. That is why he was destroying those houses very carefully. But finally he destroyed that house too, and after destroying that house, he returned with a very sad heart. This time he was more sad than before, because he had destroyed their new house too. He was not allowing those ants to settle down, and he had now started considering himself a devil or a demon. But still, obeying the words of that Mahatma, he returned to his house with a sad heart. Before sleeping at night, once again he thought that how big a devil I am, how big a demon I am. Leave aside the old house, I am not giving any place to those ants to settle anywhere. What would those ants think of me? How big a demon would that God be who is getting this work done through me? But still he decided to go the next day, and the next day early in the morning he reached there again. He was surprised to see that this time the ants had made their home in another new place. They were working with more energy than before, and they had made a bigger house than before in one night, and now they were again busy collecting their grains and food. Seeing this, the man thought that what kind of soil are these ants made of? I am trying to drive them away from here again and again, and they make their home there itself. Don't they know that I will never let them settle here? This is an ant. It looks so small, but still it is not giving up on me. It is a matter of great surprise, and this time it started destroying that house in anger, but this time it did not destroy it. While doing this, some ants died right there. They were crushed under his feet. After crushing them, when he came out of his ego, he saw how much pain he had caused to those ants in anger. His heart was filled with remorse, and he started towards his house crying. While sleeping at night, he thought that I am torturing those ants a lot. Now I will not be able to torture them more than this. And thinking this, the next day he takes some flour from his house for those ants and reaches the same hill. Today he had a feeling of respect for those ants, a feeling of compassion. Today he wanted to help them, and when he reached there, the ants were again busy building their new house. With great compassion, he fed the flour he had brought to those ants. He kept doing this for the next 7 days. He used to go every morning and feed flour to those ants with his own hands. After 7 days, that young man reaches that Mahatma, and with folded hands says, "Oh Mahatma Ji, please forgive me. I tried very hard to destroy the house of those ants. I destroyed their house not once, but 4 times. I destroyed their house. After that, I could not gather courage, could not destroy their house. I can understand that I did not complete your work, and in return, you will not even tell me the way which can take me out of my bad times. But I do not care about it. I feel that whatever I did was right. That is why I am going back after taking your permission. Please allow me to go back to my house." Hearing this, the Mahatma smiled and said, "Hey, son, where are you going? Wait, have some refreshment, stay for a while, and then go." In saying this, the Mahatma brings water for that young man. After giving water, the Mahatma asked the young man, "Tell me why you could not destroy the house of those ants. Those ants are small and you are so huge, yet you could not destroy the house of those small ants. Where is your strength, your physical strength?" Responding to this, the young man said, "Oh Mahatma, I had destroyed the home of those ants. I had done it repeatedly. Once I had even harmed those ants in my anger. But the day I harmed them, I realized why I was harming them, why I was giving them so much trouble. And from that day onwards, instead of harming them, I started helping them." Hearing this, the Mahatma said, "This is what learning is all about. A small ant gives us the message of life. I had not sent you to destroy the home of those ants. I had sent you so that you could learn something from those ants." What did you learn from those ants? Can you tell me? Hearing this, the young man narrated the whole story. After listening to the whole story, the Mahatma smiled and said, "Son, the first lesson that can be learnt from these ants is that no matter how many times you tried to break their house, no matter how many times you tried to destroy their house, they would build a new house every time. They never gave up. If they had given up, you would not have found those ants there. Life is the name of action. But we humans get broken after getting defeated once or twice, get frustrated, and then do not try in life. And some people are determined to end their life. But you must have seen one thing in animals, that they can never end their life on their own. You must have never heard that any animal committed suicide, no matter how hungry that animal is, how sad it is. But it always keeps struggling for its life. But on the other hand, we humans end our life after getting frustrated once or twice. Life is action-oriented. Life is the name of doing work, and death is the last rest, the ultimate rest. That is why never stop doing karma before death, because after death you will go to the ultimate rest. So why are you stopping doing karma before that? Why are you getting frustrated? If one house of yours has been destroyed, then try to build another house. Try. And those who try never lose. You have seen this from those ants. The second thing which is worth learning is that when you harm those ants, when you hurt them, then you looked at your mind properly. You looked at your soul, and the pain that you felt is the thing worth learning. You looked at your ego, and a new thought arose inside you. After this, you started helping those same ants. That is the biggest lesson. They did not give up their karma. Despite your loss, they were doing their karma. You learned that we humans give up our karma. We should never give up our karma, no matter what reason someone gives us trouble. You also continued your karma, and that is the biggest lesson at that time. Hearing this, the young man salutes the Mahatma and goes on his way. This story also teaches us that being hardworking, being duty-bound is the meaning of life. And no matter how many difficulties we have to face in the direction of hardworking, we should continue on our path. And the most important thing is that we should make it a habit to be hardworking. Whatever happens, we should just keep doing our work.